Max Verstappen has been a legitimate Formula 1 phenomenon since his announcement to the sport in 2014. The prospect of a 16-year-old entering F1 was going to elicit a lot of conversation. I had friends write 2,000-word think pieces saying why he shouldn't have been there at all. David Coulthard put Eddie Jordan on blast for not supporting his young drivers enough, so naturally near everything he did was going to be examined for many reasons. Then he turned out to actually be really good. He got the better of Carlos Sainz in his rookie season, and his aggressive driving style got fans on board with him very quickly, and of course he was rewarded with a promotion to the factory team, a decision he quickly vindicated for Red Bull's first win since Max's home round in Belgium 18 months prior. Only the Mercs have scored more points since. And the fan support makes a ton of sense. We in sports want to see young talent flourish, it makes us excited. Look at Marc Marquez in MotoGP right now, or how Usain Bolt stole athletics in Beijing when he was just 21 years old. In a sport that's desperate for new stories to write, Max was the answer we were all looking for, especially given he has an aggressive driving style that harkens back to what many fans considered a better time. The 1990s and the early behaviours of drivers like Senna and Schumacher, where you had to be aggressive to make a name for yourself. Ayrton's most famous quote for me is laughable and antiquated when looking at modern day F1 as a comparison, and Max being a total nerd for the sport back then is hardly surprising. Now I have a massive problem with Max's recent antics. This has been a thing since Hungary. He made multiple defensive moves and made contact with Raikkonen. Germany, he was at least partly responsible for Nico Rosberg's penalty for his turn 4 overtake, veering sharply across the braking zone. And then in Spa, he sticks his car in the most awkward spot with Raikkonen again and nearly crashes into him at 210 miles an hour. And when Kimi Raikkonen, who's in his 14th season and as old school as it gets, puts you on blast, something is truly up. And the worst part is, he hasn't even been investigated for any of his on-track discretions yet, and that is a massive problem given that it essentially continues to justify his behaviour. And then Verstappen tries the patience of many reasonable F1 fans by being defiant in his behaviour and often petulant in his responses. As much as the recent backlash has been a thing, his immaturity is nothing new. When Felipe Massa called him out, Max mentioned Canada 2014 and the Perez crash. It's a pattern. Did the same with Rosberg in Germany, and even said that the Ferrari should be ashamed of themselves for turn 1 when Max was driving off the inside of the curb for a move he was never going to realistically stick, saying he was going after Kimi later in the race for revenge. When you take zero responsibility for driving as dangerously as he has, you're going to divide the audience and get yet more people talking. But do you know what Max Verstappen truly is more than anything else? He's an 18-year-old. And take it from me, a guy who turned 24 last week, there is arsehole tendencies in every teenager. We're bratty, we're arrogant, and we hate admitting that we're wrong. Max is one of those guys too, and I think eventually he'll learn his lesson. Now I'm not justifying Max's behaviour either by any means. He should be called out for his shit, especially when it's coming from guys who have had almost as much experience in racing as he has been alive on this planet. But I also think we need to put Max into some sort of context here. He's an 18-year-old who's been patted on the back by people like Dr. Marco since he was 15 and has been spoilt rotten by everyone around him ever since, thrust into the limelight and is becoming a superstar. It's no coincidence that Spa had 85,000 fans this past weekend, the most for them since 2001. Max Verstappen alone sold 25% more tickets than usual, and it's easy to see why. Like him or not, he's going to be a mainstay of the sport for at least the next 15 years. As a result, we get this ridiculous feedback loop with Max. He's aggressive, he's unapologetic, he throws shade like any bratty teenager, but of course he's also immensely talented. Those elements are going to split people right down the middle. But please, bear the other side of the coin when discussing Max and adding the appropriate nuance. It's easy to forget that this barely adult man is a phenomenon and will change the sport as we know it, even if he's infuriating as all hell in the process.